Welcome again. So, continuing with our series on model binding in ASP.NET Core 3.1, as I promised in the last lecture that I will tell you how I got the sample source code from the Microsoft repository in GitHub and how did I build our project to run with the minimum hassle. So, this is my learning outcome, what I will discuss. So, I shall discuss the source from where to get the Microsoft sample code for model binding from the public ASP.NET Core 3.1 repository on GitHub and how to get only the required code. Please mark the word only the required code with minimum hassle to get going. So, and how did I integrate and how I am going to integrate it on our own ASP.NET web project built with ASP.NET Core 3.1. And finally, correct all the bugs after integration to build the project successfully. So I have two humble requests in this tutorial. First of all, to please be patient and go through the entire video to make sense and to get the best value out of the video. And this would be very useful in future also if you'd like to take more samples for more projects from the Microsoft documentation, which are very handy. And the second thing is please subscribe to the channel and get the bell icon notification. So whenever I upload fresh videos, you'll get immediate notifications. So with this, we'll move forward. So this is the tutorial that I used, model binding in ASP.NET Core, and I have filtered it for the latest version, ASP.NET Core 3.1, and you have ASP.NET 5. It's in preview, so I'm just uh, letting it to be taken when the ASP.NET 5 version becomes stable. So that's another story. We'll discuss it in some other thing, other tutorial. But ASP.NET 3.1, ASP.NET Core 3.1 is the latest stable version. All right. So when ASP.NET 5 becomes stable, actually, you will see that ASP.NET Core and ASP.NET um, the normal framework that we have been used to. So they will merge to become ASP.NET 5. But we will discuss it in some other lecture. Okay. So here you can see that um, you can view or download the sample code. So this is the sample code repository on GitHub. So right click and open in a link, new tab. So this is the documentation .NET / ASP.NET Core.docs. But you see, if I go to the root level of ASP.NET Core.doc, I can always clone it or um, download the zip, but I have done it in the past several times because the code gets updated every day with every build or maybe more than once, and it is very hard to get the root level solution to run because it is a conglomeration of so many solutions and so many projects, so it's practically impossible to get it going in a short term. So what I have chosen is to go back and um, this is the sample. Okay, so we'll take only this part 3.x, so that is 3.0 onward version. 3.1 is the this will be covering our ASP.NET Core Framework 3.1. So you can see as soon as I clicked on this model binding sample 3.x, I am greeted with uh, um, structure, code structure with all the controllers. So if you click on this controllers folder, you've got pets controller that we have used last time, and then JSON converters. I haven't used the JSON converters so far, but I have used the models and office assignment pet model we have used last time in the last lectures. And if you go back again to that level model binding sample, you will find the pages here. Sorry, go back again. So in the pages folder, if you click, you'll get all the relevant pages, CSHTML files and the Razor pages and the code behind the Razor pages. So basically this is modeling a contours university. So you have got this instructors folder, instructors with dictionary, and instructors with collection. So what did I do is that I have switched over to Visual Studio 2019 after this. So back to Visual Studio 2019, and I will create a new project. So it is going to give me all the recent used project templates, ASP.NET Core Web Application. So I'll click on this one, and this is by default it is taking a name Web Application 1, as you are aware of. So I will give it the same name again. Say this was model binding validation, okay, just to show you. So, and I will put it in a proper folder. So I will just get back to that. First give me the right name. Or let's name it model binding demo. So after fixing the project name and location and solution name, I just click on create and let it be ASP.NET Core 3.1, .NET Core here, and web application. Okay, so a project template for creating an ASP.NET Core application with examples ASP.NET Core or ASP.NET Razor Pages content. Either hit this or even you can click on this one. So I will click on this and click on create with configure for HTTPS, and others are default unchecked. Okay, enable Docker support and enable Razor runtime compilation. So click on create, it will create the project for you. Now the model binding project demo is created for you with the minimal amount of code, and just the pages folder and the properties folder with the www root folder with CSS, JSS, JS and lib. So for the static content. Now what we will do is I will switch over back to the Microsoft document and show the rest of the part. So if you go back to my previous lecture, you will find that I have explained this code HTTP GET. This is from a web API, and it is the action result is of type pet get by ID. Okay, and then we have tested it with this URL, except the difference being that instead of it was on the local host with your port /API/pets/ Okay, so this part was just different because this is hosted on the contours.com server, web server, but I have hosted it on my localhost. Now, if you look into this, you need and if you go back to the GitHub source code, and first just remember this part is actually returning an action result of pet type. Okay, and this is a controller action method. So it could be a controller from an MVC, or it could be a Razor page. It cannot be a Razor page. It can be a controller from the web API. So let's get back to the code again. So if you look into the controllers and double click on the controllers folder, you can see that there is a pets controller. So if you click on this one, it opens up the entire pets controller application, this code. So what you can do, you have two choices: either the copy the entire code like this, or click on the raw to get just the raw code. Okay, this is actually a bit zoomed up version, but if you unzoom it, all right. So what I can do, I can just highlight everything, Control A and then Control C to copy it, and click on the back button. And then what I can do, that you can see that here it is under the controllers, and I don't have the controllers folder. So what I have to do is to create a controllers folder. So right click on the project and add a new folder and name it controllers. Right. So once I have got this controllers folder, and if I right click, then I have the choice of adding a controller. right? So I will go for API controller, right? And with empty, because I wish to write the code by myself. Okay, so API controller empty and click on add, and instead of the default values controller, I will make it pets controller. So pets, now it comes up with the pets controller, right? So this is the API controller class. So I've got this pets um, pets controller class. However, if you go back to the code here, sorry, here, um, I have to get this code. So just copy this code, public action result pet, and put it into the pets controller class, which is derived from the controller base class. All right, now you have to fill in something. If you um, just go with this corrections that it is suggesting, show potential fixes and get by ID. Okay, so I'll have to create a pet class because pet class is not there. Okay, so what happens here is I have to create a model folder, models folder. So how did I come to know about this? Because if I go back to the model binding sample folder, I'll see that there is a models folder. Okay, so there is a controllers folder I have already created, the controllers folder, and now I have to create a models folder, and in that models folder I have to create a pet class. All right, so what I will do is I will again, this time I'll just copy from here. So control A to, sorry, not control A, just highlight everything. Just carefully highlight everything and copy, and then I'll come back to my code. What I will do is I will right click on this model binding demo project level and click on add new folder and name it models. Okay, and then I will create a pet class. Right click, add class. So this, name this pet. Automatically it will take the CS extension. Right, so I've copied everything, but actually it's a good idea to keep the namespace the same. So all you need to do is basically you can copy this part, everything within the namespace. So within this, keeping the namespace intact with our default namespace, I will just copy everything. Now please remember, in this lecture I am just telling you how you get the sample code from the Microsoft repository and integrate it to your project. This is by no means an explanation of the things that is being represented by this code. Okay, so now I think I am ready, and let me Control Shift B to build the project to see everything is all right or not. So Control Shift B, build started. So I've got some errors over here which I can correct. So this semicolon expected. So what I have missed probably is that uh, oh, there is a semicolon, of course, obvious semicolon I'm missing. Type of namespace pet could not be found. Okay, so I'll have to get the fix because I have to use now model binding dot models. Okay, in the namespace which has been correctly now written, and pets controller dot get by add must declare a body because it is not marked as abstract. Okay, let's sorry, I have just written the signature, but I have not created any body. So I'll create the body, uh, and let's see. Now because I am not returning anything, so it is complaining not all code returns, not all code paths return a value. So I will just return null for the time being. Let's see how it behaves now. Return null, and everything should be all right. Hunky dory now. Control Shift B again to build this project. Build started, and now build succeeded. Okay, so we'll end it over here. So in this lecture, what we have seen is how to um, get the code, where to get the code from the Microsoft repository, and how to integrate it into our project by creating a new ASP.NET Core web project and integrate only the portion that we require absolutely. Okay.